I'll show you how to turn plates, bowls, and mugs into whimsical, beautiful flowers for your mosaics. We'll create the petals, place them, and then dress them up. From simple to ornate. Let's get to it. Welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Julie. And on this channel, we talk about tips, tricks, tools, adhesives, materials, and specific mosaic projects, all to shorten your learning curve when it comes to creating mosaic art. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. Plates, bowls, and mugs work really well to create flowers for mosaic art. You're able to take advantage of the natural curvature of these pieces to mimic real flower petals in nature. Using plates, bowls, and mugs in mosaics is called PIQUE ASSIETTE, which is French for thief of plates. It's also known as broken mosaics, bits and pieces, shardware, and memoryware. I'll show you how to break down these pieces and then put them back together to create a variety of different types of flowers. This process also allows you to create flowers now for use later in your mosaics when you're ready for them. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. As I mentioned, you'll be able to create flowers now, which can be used later on its final substrate, and that's because we're going to create these flowers on something called mosaic mesh or fiberglass mesh. I recently did a video here on the channel all about mosaic mesh, the pros, the cons, when I like to use it, why I like to use it, and I'll put a link here in the description card as well as down below so you can check it out. Now, although we are creating flowers today on mesh, what I'm going to show you can actually be tiled directly onto the final substrate, and you can bypass the mesh altogether. And I'll explain how you can do that in a minute. I'm using mesh today for a couple reasons which you might find beneficial as well. The first reason is for a few of the flowers, I'm going to be working on top of a pattern. I want a couple of the flowers to look similar, and so this will help keep things moving along nicely so that there is some similarity, but also working on a pattern allows me to keep myself in check, so to speak, as far as where my tiling is and where it should be. And second, I'm not ready to incorporate these flowers just yet into the final mosaic, so taking advantage of doing them now ahead of time when I'm ready to do the larger mosaic piece will save me a lot of time down the road once I'm working on that larger mosaic. Later on, I'll also show you how to tile on mesh without a pattern just so you can see the process. So let me show you the layers that I have here today. On the bottom is a piece of scrap cardboard. This will allow me to move the flower off my work table to a secure area in my studio to finish the drying process. Next is the pattern I'll be working on. It's taped down to the cardboard. It's not moving. I drew this pattern and then copied it at different percentages to get different sized flowers. If you'd rather just find a pattern already made, you can look online for free stained glass flower patterns and you'll see a ton of options. If the flower you like is really small, you always have the option of printing it out at a larger size. And as I mentioned a little earlier, you don't necessarily need a pattern to make flowers. If you're feeling up to it, you can certainly forego a pattern and jump right into the cutting and tiling, and I'll show you how to do that to get started a bit later. On top of the pattern is a piece of plastic wrap that's taped down. This will protect your pattern so that it doesn't get wet from the adhesive. And then on top of that is the mosaic mesh, which is, yep, you guessed it, taped down. So everything is taped down and secure, and this is our substrate for today. As I mentioned earlier, you certainly don't need a pattern in order to make flowers with the plates, bowls, and mugs. I'll show you later how you can forego the pattern and just jump right into the tiling. Before you begin tiling, you want to think about what kind of flowers do you want to make? Do you want them to be flat so they lay right against your substrate? Or do you want them to be more curvy and at different heights, a lot like what you would find in nature? If you want more flat-like flowers, then I would suggest using plates. Dinner, dessert, doesn't matter, but the plates are going to give you a lot of flat surface area to work with just a little bit of curves if you just want a little bit of curvature. If you want more wild or lifelike flowers, I would suggest using bowls and mugs because they're going to offer you more curvature in helping to simulate that. For my flowers today, I wanted a variety, so I'm going to incorporate plates, bowls, and mugs into my pieces. For the adhesive today, you do have a couple of options. You can use something like Weld Bond, or you can use thin set mortar. I'm going to show you both options, but I'm just going to put it out there that I have a preference, and we'll talk a little more about that in a minute. If you do create more flat type of flowers, you will probably be able to get away with using Weld Bond for your pieces. You just want to make sure that your pieces of tile do actually make contact with the mesh. Because plates, bowls, and mugs do have a curve in their material, I highly recommend using thin set mortar as your adhesive. And I would definitely recommend using thin set mortar as your adhesive if you're trying to create flowers that are more like wild, what you would find in nature, where you're dealing with curved pieces, you're dealing with different heights. The thin set mortar will actually help you achieve this look easier. And I'll show you what I mean a little later in the video. The hand tools I always turn to when cutting plates, bowls, and mugs are the wheeled glass nippers, tile nippers, and compound tile nippers. I'll include a list with links down below in the description for all tools and materials I'm using today in case you'd like to get started in PIQUE Assiette Mosaic. With each flower, I start by cutting down the plate, bowl, or mug into smaller, more manageable sized pieces. I'll hold pieces over the pattern if I'm working on one to see where I need to nip the piece to get it to the desired size. You can also use a marker on the back of your piece of plate, bowl, or mug if that helps. Sometimes I'll draw on the back side of the piece. You don't want to overcut then have to start over. It's better to make 5 little nips than one large cut that wrecks the whole work you've been doing and you've got to start over on your piece. You'll notice as you cut a variety of pieces from a variety of manufacturers that not all pieces are created equal. Some are easier to cut than others, and there's no shame in abandoning a piece of pottery because it's just too small to cut. The last thing you want is to be turned off because of an unruly plate, bowl, or mug. Example A of unruly plate. I am so done with this plate. I bought 2 of them. I'm done. This is going to be donated. This was very difficult to cut, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But oh my goodness gracious, I had so many band-aids on my hands when I was done cutting this. It was not enjoyable, and I have no shame or guilt in just being done with this plate, and I'm over. Done. I was taught you don't hate anything, but I dislike that plate greatly. And once you're happy with the piece you've cut or nipped, you can smooth down the sides if needed. You can do this with an electric grinder, metal file, Dremel, or, like what I have here, a sanding stone in a container of water. The water will keep the dust down. It helps the sanding stone do its job of, well, sanding. And it keeps your piece cool so it doesn't crack. If you want to make a flower that is more lifelike, then look for curved pieces where the sides of the mug or bowl meet the bottom. Take advantage of those curvy pieces. They are your friends. As I mentioned earlier, I prefer to use fortified thin-set mortar as the adhesive for this type of project. It's heavy duty and does a great job of not only adhering the pieces to the mesh, but if I need them supported in a certain position, then it helps out significantly. And as you can see here, I've even used a few craft sticks to help prop up the petals while they dry. You can fill the center of flowers with all sorts of materials, from beads, marbles, flat back glass gems, buttons, stained glass, and even the same material as your flower petals. Get creative, have fun, and see where your piece goes. After your flower has been drying for at least 2 days, you can remove the plastic wrap from the back of your mesh. Just pull it away gently. Now, you have 2 options at this point. You can trim the mesh around your mosaic, or as I often like to do, I retape the meshed mosaic back onto the cardboard for safekeeping until I'm ready to use it. This keeps the flowers flat. Then, once I'm ready to use it, I'll do the trimming around the meshed mosaic and adhere the flower to its final substrate. I'll include a list with links down below for all the tools and materials in case you'd like to get started in PIQUE Assiette Mosaic. Question of the day, have you ever created flowers from plates, bowls, and mugs? And if so, which was your favorite and why? Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up as it really does help my channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification so you never miss a single upload, and let me know in the comments if there's something you'd like me to cover in a future video. I'll see you soon. Bye. If you say so. Good enough. I said it good enough. That's a lot of stuff there. Oh, it was going so well. Curvature. Why can't I get this? That one was a good one. It's because it doesn't roll off your tongue. I got it. Both have their, well, do they have pros and cons? Well, Bond has a con, but moving on. Woo! How's our lighting this episode? Change things up a little bit. Am I like, wow, super bright? Or, okay. That was a good one. 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Yes. If you're looking for more mosaic inspiration, you can check out one of these two videos. Until then, see ya. I think we got it all.